This is me riding in on the horse. I wanted a big entrance, so I came in on a horse. Like this is my horse. Yeah, haha, thank you. How are you guys? Having fun? Well, good, because I thought for my panel that I would do a meditation where we all just sit in silence, quietly, get in touch with our inner child, maybe, or we can drink, whatever you like. Are you guys having fun? Yeah? I wish that I spoke German, because I'm much funnier if you understand what I'm saying. So a little bit, okay. Good, I think someone brought a picture to my table when I was here, I think it was here in this room in 2002, that someone said Tom Paris never was shirtless. He always wore clothes. We auctioned for charity to raise money. I took off my shirt. Were you here? Are you traumatized? Was it? You're still in trauma. It's very traumatizing. I know. Yeah, I think I took my shirt off in here. It's the only time I ever did that. Was it here? In this room, right? I thought so. I'm not going to do that again. No, you don't want to see that. No. What? Yeah, there's pictures. I know, I've seen them. They're on the internet. The internet never forgets anything. Okay, all right. So we can meditate or drink. Drink, okay. I don't know what else to tell you. I guess, yeah, I always love coming here. This is my third or fourth FedCon? Third or fourth, I don't know. But I really do love coming here. Everyone here is so polite and so nice, and I really enjoy it. So I hope you guys are having a good time, because I'm having a great time. I really enjoy it. You're probably talking about my hat, I think. A lot of people talking about my hat. I thought that would get a laugh, but no. So I have a new hat. I'm very happy with it. Do you know the singer James Taylor? James Taylor? Yeah? I love James Taylor. And I finally got to see James Taylor live last year. And he came out for the second part of his show with this hat on. And I was just like, I have to have the hat James Taylor has. I have to. So I go on the internet and I find out what kind of hat he wears. And I ordered it, but it's just been sitting there for like almost a year because I don't know where to wear it. So I decided I'm gonna bring the hat out for you guys. This is the beginning of my new hat phase. So, started right here in Bonn, right here. The hat made its debut, so yes. What else can I tell you? I've been working on this little show called Resident Alien. With Alan Tudyk. You know this show with Alan Tudyk? Yeah, we made season 4. We finished just 2 months ago. And in the US, it will premiere next Friday, or this Friday. So season 4 will be out this week, so it's very exciting for us. And that's it. Yeah, it was a big season. It was a big season. So if you like the show, I hope you can see this season 4, because it's a lot of big things happening. And Alan Tudyk got to direct this year on our show. So Alan directed the first 2 episodes, because on Resident Alien we shoot 2 episodes at the same time. So every director that comes in does two scripts shooting at the same time. And Alan, the only time he could direct was the very first episode, so he got the first 2 episodes. So he did a great job. But it was interesting to watch him because his role is so big in the show, you know, the comedy and everything he does. For him to also be thinking like a director was very hard. I think it was harder than he expected. So, but he did a great job. Oh my! Oh my! Thank you, internet. Thank you. Wow, that was right here. Yeah. Oh wow. Well. But the hat looks good, doesn't the hat? Oh my gosh, wow. Okay. Okay. What else can I tell you? I don't know, I'm just gonna ramble on for a while, see what comes to mind. The meditation did not go over well. We said no meditation? No. Okay, okay. You have questions? Oh!
Hello, Robbie.
Oh, hello, Daika. Daika has been with the Delta Flyers. Oh, we'll talk about the podcast.
Yes, we are.
Yes, Daika's been with our podcast, Patreon podcast, the Delta Flyers, since we started, I think. Just about, yeah.
Yeah, my question actually is about the podcast, because you're watching Deep Space Nine now and you're in season 4. So was there any moment, for whatever reason, that you thought like, oh, I really wanted to be on Deep Space Nine instead of Voyager?
Yeah. I mean, great question. Thank you for reminding me about the podcast, because if you haven't heard the podcast Garrett Wong and I do called the Delta Flyers, please look it up. We talk about all the episodes of Voyager, 7 years of episodes. We talk about them one at a time. And now we're doing Deep Space Nine with Armin Shimmerman and Terry Farrell are co-hosting with us. To answer your question, is there a moment I wished I was on that show? I don't think so. I mean, no, I don't think so. I think my character and my personality fit better with our show than with, like, they're very different kinds of casts, you know what I mean? Every show has its own kind of personality, and I was just telling somebody last night, on Voyager, the first 3 years for sure, we were like kids at school. Like, we were just silly and we were very confident in the show running for 7 years. I think it was when Kes was written off the show that all of a sudden everybody was like, whoa, maybe we should take this more seriously, or I don't know. We kind of, it got more real when they wrote Kes off and brought on 7 of 9. Just in terms of like being vulnerable, you know, being expendable. And so, anyway, I think that the silliness that we had on Voyager, there was a lighthearted quality to the way the days went and to our personalities. So, I feel like my personality fits with the Voyager cast really comfortably. I think the DS9 cast, when we were both doing the shows, I was very intimidated by the DS9 cast. They were very serious. They were older, most of them. They seemed like very serious actors. It didn't seem like they were having the fun that we were we were having silly fun on our show, and they were being very serious. So I think I fit in where I belong. It's a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Daika. Daika, have you run any races lately? Any? Yeah, of course. Daika's a big runner. Not me, and I'm not a big runner. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. So, could you tell us about a moment in your acting career where you had to overcome a challenge? Like a moment that seemed maybe even too hard to accomplish the way you wanted, but then you succeeded?
Great question. I mean, the first thing that popped in my mind was Voyager, because right when I got Voyager, I was really doubting myself as an actor. I had not been working as much as I wanted to, and I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of nerves. I got very nervous, and so when I got Voyager, I didn't know if I could do it, to be honest. I was very, very nervous, and yeah, so that made me very anxious. It's one reason that I like to direct now, is I got to a place around the time I was doing Voyager where it wasn't fun for me anymore, the acting. And before that, it had been fun. I did musical theater, I was doing some TV shows, but I think because when Voyager came along, I had just gotten married a few years earlier. I had 2 children. I was trying to support a family, and being an actor and supporting a family is not smart. So I was nervous. I was just always anxious, you know.
But the important bit about the question is the moment of triumph you achieved.
Yes, I'm going to tell you. I like to drag things out, very long. So, when I first got onto Voyager, I started going to therapy, to be honest. I went to some therapy. I was like, why am I so anxious about doing this thing that I did for a long time? And I think because of some therapy, and also the key was having fun. That's why I brought that up before. I wasn't having fun, and I realized, like, I need to have fun with this. I need to enjoy just the opportunity to sit on the stage and to pretend like I'm in space and all of that. And once I sort of switched the gears in my head from before I was thinking, this is scary, I'm no good, this is painful, I just want it to be over. That's how I started on Voyager. I just want this to be over, I don't want to do this. And once I switched the gears to, this is fun, this is what I wanted to do when I was little. I wanted to pretend I was in space. I wanted to, once I switched that gear, everything changed for me. And I had to choose that, you know what I mean? I had to intentionally kind of go, okay, stop the negative thinking and remember how grateful you are to be here, to be with these sets and these actors and these great stories. And anyway, yeah, that changed a lot. Yeah, thank you. Great question. Drinking.
Hi. My name is Maria Jose. I'm a big fan of Voyager, and also I'm a Delta flyer.
Yes.
And I recommend all the people your Patreon, your podcast, because it's very funny. And I wonder, when you finish DS9, talking about DS9, which show are you going to choose to talk about?
Yeah, great question. First of all, thank you for being a Patreon supporter for Delta Flyers. The one thing speaking of grateful, the one thing I'm so grateful for is this podcast and the community of people that has gotten to know each other and gotten to connect all over the world. And I'm really happy and proud of the podcast for doing what you're talking about, being a part of a community, being involved with the Discord groups and the conversations and the meetups. And we even had two of our podcast members met each other through the podcast and are now married. Mike Gu and Stephanie Baker are married now because of the podcast. So it's really wonderful to see the community that the podcast has created. I don't know what we're gonna do after DS9. I don't know. I don't know. Last time, the thing that I love about the podcast is, we put out a lot of like polls and questions to the fan, to the Patreon people who are part of this community and support it. And we ask the community, we ask the Patreon, like, what do you want to see? What do you want to hear about? What do you guys want? And we go from there. So that's what we did with DS9. We just asked.
That's right.
Yeah, we asked people, and they wanted to see DS9, and so we got Armin Shimmerman, Terry Farrell involved. They are very grateful for this podcast as well. They both say so many times to us that they are appreciating DS9 much, much more now because of this podcast, because they're having to look at the episodes and they see the great work that their friends did and the writing, and sometimes watching episodes that they have never seen, that they made the show, but they never watched it. So it's really, yeah, I love it. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hello, up here.
Hi. Where are those spotlights coming from?
On the front of the stage above you.
Wow, that's pretty fancy. It's just like, it was very dramatic. It's like the light went.
Yeah, I also like a big entrance.
Yeah, it's a very big entrance. You need a horse though.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Okay.
I forgot what I was going to say.
See, this is what I do. I mesmerize you with
It's excruciating.
Yes, it's painful. Yes, I know.
That's really hard. A little while ago, you played a villain on Star Trek that kind of looked like Paris. It sounded a bit like Paris, but
I heard about
did not
this.
see, but I did not hear or see the resemblance. Could
Yeah.
you share anything about that experience?
Yes, I've heard that someone that looked kind of like me was on Lower Decks.
This was strange, really.
It's I don't see it.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Thank you. That was like that was a pity laugh, okay? That was a pity laugh. How did that happen? Well, the first time was Tom Paris on the Plate episode, the K's on, all that stuff. That was the first time they asked me to do Lower Decks, and I really love Mike McMahon. I hit it off with him in our recording session. I had so much fun that I actually reached out to him after we did that, and I just said, anytime I can help you, whether you want me to do a voice or whatever you need, you're a good guy, I like you. And he loves Star Trek. Mike loves Star Trek. He loves the history, the mythology, everything about it. So anyway, he called me the next year and he said, I have this idea for the next season, but I don't want to write it unless you're interested. And I said, sure, whatever you want. And so he told me his idea. He said, originally what he pitched to me is like 6 or 7 episodes where we just keep hearing this voice and everybody thinks that it's Tom Paris is the villain. And then they reveal at the very end of the season that it's Nick Locarno because they finally see him. But before that, it was just going to be a voice. And I just thought it was a great idea. So when he finally called and he said, it's not going to be 6 or 7 episodes, it's just going to be two episodes, but it's a real big part of our season finale and the whole season. So anyway, that's kind of how it happened. He called, told me the idea. I said, anytime I'll go do it. And then I didn't hear from him for a long time. And then he called again with some scripts and the dates. And I loved it. It was great.
I really enjoyed it. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And I remember one other thing about Lower Decks. So I produce Resident Alien, that show, and we shoot in Vancouver, Canada. And they needed me to record in the middle of production of Resident Alien. And so I set aside a few hours one afternoon to go record in Vancouver in a studio there. And then just the way things scheduled out, we had a very big day, really big filming day on Resident Alien. I went on a location with 150 extras and all this. And so I remember I went out to the location and was helping on set, and then I went to record. And when you record these episodes, all the action, you have to yell really, there's a lot of it's exhausting to do, physically tiring to do. But I had so much fun, and then I went back to set on Resident Alien after that, but I had lost my voice because I was yelling so much. And so I was trying to produce the show, but I was talking like this. I couldn't talk, so yeah, that's one memory I have of it. It was fun. I love it. I love those guys.
One point
Yeah.
concerning this, I was also wondering, I really enjoy all the new animated Star Trek, but the portrayal of the actors is all of their youth and their perfect bodies. Do you think it's unfair to the real persons who should be allowed to grow older and develop and change?
Thank you. What are you saying to me?
No, that's not. That's really. You're wrong. Go ahead.
I think that I think you bring up a good point. Is that historically, television has had these sort of this image of people that you have to be skinny, you have to be beautiful, you have to look this way or that way, And I love what's happening in Star Trek, but also in a lot of other television, like on Resident Alien. We have a very normal-looking cast. We don't have the old...
Well, you have Alan Tudyk.
We have Alan Tudyk, yes.
I love him, but he can look weird.
But he can be an odd-looking and acting guy. But our entire cast on Resident Alien is the most interesting and unusual cast I think I've ever had on a show. And I see that in the new Star Treks, that they're bringing representation of all kinds of people, body types and ethnicities and orientations and all of that. I think that's such a great thing because, like on Resident Alien, we have a Native American storyline, an indigenous storyline that's very important to the show. And about a year or two ago, I was doing some volunteer work, and I ended up on a Zoom call with the Navajo tribe in southern Utah, where I live. And one of the young men, he was Navajo. Near the end of this Zoom call, he said to me, "Oh, I just wanted to say to you, I know that you produce Resident Alien." And he said, "The representation of Native and Indigenous people on this show is so important, you have no idea." And when he started to thank me for being a part of that, I started to cry because he was so moving that he saw himself represented in a way that was authentic and was real and made him proud. And I think that's important for people. So yeah, body types, everything, all of it. I think the more realistic the shows, the more they connect with people. And that's important because you want your show to connect with people and move them and make them proud. So anyway, thank you. Great question.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Robert. I love watching your show, Resident Aliens, and it took me like a half a season to find out that you're the producer of that show. And could you tell us the story how you became the producer of that great show we most of all love?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I had just finished another show called The Gifted. Did you get the show, The Gifted? Yeah. You got that? It was an X-Men sort of idea. And I had done The Gifted, and that show just got canceled, so I was looking for a job. And I had read some news about the show called Resident Alien, based on a comic book that was about an alien who gets stranded in a small town and has to pretend to be a human, but it said in the news, the article I read, it said, based on a comic book, it's got science fiction, it's got comedy, and it's quirky. And I just read the article and I'm like, I should be doing that. Like, that's my kind of show. It's sci-fi, it's comedy, it's all those things that I love. It reminded me of Chuck, the show that I did called Chuck. And the description reminded me of Chuck. So I called my agent and I said, hey, I read about this show called Resident Alien. Do you know anything about it? Do they need a producer? And he said, I'll get back to you. So he called me back the next day. He said, yeah, they need a producer, but they already have somebody that, it's not for sure, but they have somebody that they're talking to about it. So there's no job there. And I was like, oh, that's too bad. I said, let me know if something changes. So a month goes by or so, and I call my agent again, and I said, what about that show Resident Alien? Did they ever hire that producer? And he goes, no, not yet. And I said, well, can I meet them? I really was trying to get this show. I really wanted to get the job. And he called and he said, well, they're still talking to this other guy, but it's not official. And I said, well, does anybody, do I know anybody that's worked with them before that could recommend me? Turns out Seth MacFarlane from Family Guy had worked with Chris, the creator of Resident Alien. So I called Seth, and I said, hey Seth, can you tell Chris, this guy that I don't know, can you tell Chris that I'm an awesome guy and he should meet me? Because I want to do his show. It sounds like I'm a perfect fit. And so the next day my agent calls and said, well, they want to meet you for Resident Alien. Because I guess Seth sent an email to them and they really want to meet you. So anyway, that's kind of how it happened. I met with Chris, we hit it off. And Chris has always said to me, he said, if I didn't get that email from Seth, I would have we were trying to hire the other guy. And I know the other guy. He's a great producer and a great director. But I'm glad that they hired me and not him. Because,
we all are. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Is there one aspect of Tom Paris that you wish had been explored more in the show, or like a direction where he would have developed into? Like, not talking salamanders, but just like from your point of view, where would you wish Tom had gone to, which wasn't in the show?
Yeah, I think when I started the show with Tom Paris, I think we all had a different idea of who he was. And it took a year or two, and I mean, I had a different idea, the writers had a different idea. I think we all we were trying to make something in their minds like Nick Locarno, who was kind of a bad guy, but I don't know. They were writing him in a very, I did not like the way they wrote Tom Paris the first year or two. And I started to tell them that once I got over my nerves and my anxiety and I started enjoying myself, I started to tell them that. And like I had pitched that, I ride motorcycles. I really enjoy riding my motorcycles. And so I said to them, what if Tom has a holodeck where he's riding motorcycles and we could go shoot, I'll go ride the motorcycles, and maybe it's a vintage motorcycle and he works on it or something. And that turned into the car, the car buff and the 20th century. Like some of that stuff started getting into the show. I like that. I wish that they had explored a little more comedy with Tom Paris. I like when Tom was funny, when they let him be funny. To me, that felt more like a character I enjoy. It can be funny and dramatic and all those things. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Tom got to develop and change more than most any other character on that show. And I'm really grateful for that, because he started off a jerk and a bit of a outsider and no friends, and he didn't belong with Starfleet or the Maquis or anybody, so he started off a little bit of a jerk. But by the time he ended the show, he was married, he had a kid, he was, he was funnier, he was lighter, he changed a lot, and he was much more responsible. He didn't seem very responsible in the first years. So I liked the way that his arc developed. I don't know what I feel just grateful that they developed him that much, as opposed to just staying this, some other characters on our show kind of stay more the same. Right? Why are you laughing at me? I think they had to. Those sub-characters, like Tuvok, has to kind of stay the same. Or I think the Doctor changed a lot. I think Tom Paris changed a lot. I think the Captain had to she had highs and lows, but she had to kind of be pretty stable. Yeah, Tom changed a lot, so I'm really happy with that. I'm very happy with it. Great question. Who are you, by the way? What is this?
Stargate.
Oh, Stargate, of course. Sorry.
But yesterday I was Star Trek.
Yeah,
and
it's
tomorrow I'm again, so all good, right?
It's very, very shiny. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Orville.
Hello, sir.
First of all, your hat is awesome.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
You're
Thank
just
you.
missing the whip, and you could go as Indiana. I'm a big fan of Lieutenant Paris and also of Kevin from Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
Yes.
So
The cosmic key.
So my question would be, did you have any memories, fun memories, or behind the scenes while producing or acting at Masters of the Universe?
Yeah, I have a lot of memories, and then some things I forgot because it was the 80s, and the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We don't remember everything about the 80s. I was young. One thing I remember about Masters of the Universe, so Masters of the Universe was filming in California, and I had another job on a soap opera, All My Children. Did you get the soap operas over here in Germany? You did? So All My Children was a very popular soap opera, and I was doing that in New York City, and they let me out to do the movie for 6 weeks or 5 weeks or something. And the movie was supposed to be done in 7 weeks. So they gave me 5 weeks off from the soap opera, and then I had to kind of figure out the last week or two. The problem is Masters of the Universe didn't shoot for 7 weeks. It ended up shooting for like 14 weeks. It just got over schedule and over budget, and so for more than half of that movie, for 2/3 of it, I was flying back and forth. Sometimes I would do the soap opera during the day, get on a flight in New York at 7 p.m., dinner. I would get on a flight, fly to California, and go straight to the set at 2 in the morning to film the movie. So I thought I was a rock star. I was like, wow, this is great. I'm back and forth. But things are very blurry because I was doing that. I was, a lot of the movie, because I was flying back and forth doing the 2 shows, I missed a lot of the social time, which I regret, because I did become very good friends with Courtney Cox. We were very close during that. Yeah, we were very close. And James Tolkien, who was he was in Top Gun. James Tolkien, he played the sheriff in Masters of the Universe, the bald guy. James, yeah, with a shotgun. Yeah, James Tolkien. He and I got to be very good friends. Yeah, I remember we were filming in a town called Whittier, California, and it's a Main Street, very American Main Street, USA, and we had to blow up a car. I think it was James Tolkien's sheriff's car or something. We had to blow up the car, and the special effects crew had put way too much gasoline in the car for the explosion. So when the car exploded, it shattered all the windows of the stores on the whole street. Everything just, and it was bad. It was a dangerous explosion. But we made a mess of that town, and we had to fix all the glass and cars, and it was bad. And we filmed in Whittier, because the whole movie takes place in one night. So we filmed in Whittier, Main Street for over a month, only at night. So sometimes I would go into work at 7 o'clock at night and shoot until 7 the next morning, and then go home blurry-eyed and sleep all day. Yeah, it was a very surreal thing. Also, Dolph Lundgren couldn't speak English very well back then. And so you would do a scene with Dolph Lundgren, and he would be very emotional, but you didn't know what he was saying. Like, you couldn't understand his English. Probably like me right now, with you. But we didn't know what he was saying sometimes, so that was interesting. And Dolph would go and lift his weights and get all buff, and he'd come in amped up, and then he'd say something, he'd be like, what was that? Is he done? We didn't always know what he was saying. And I think he looped. Do you know what looping is? Like dubbing? I think Dolph dubbed the entire movie. I don't think any of the lines that he did when we filmed it were understandable enough, so he had to dub the whole thing after we made the movie. It's pretty funny, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the question. Hello?
Hi. Well, you started this talk out with saying either meditation or drinking. So, what's your favorite drink?
My favorite drink? On the podcast, I used to do cocktails with Tom Paris for a while.
I haven't reached those yet. I have some catching up to do.
Oh yes, you have to watch. There's some cocktails with Tom Paris I did, but I don't do that anymore. But my favorite drink, right now I like bourbon whiskey. So bourbon drink. Actually, I take that back. I like bourbon a lot, like an old fashioned or a Manhattan. Those are cocktails I like a lot. But I've discovered recently, so gin, like we all know gin looks like vodka, right? Clear liquid. But the original gin was not clear. They used to distill the gin and then they would put it in barrels like whiskey or scotch and let the gin age in a barrel, so you got a very amber looking gin. And you taste the oak from the barrels, the charred barrels and things. So I've started getting dark gin and making cocktails with dark gin. So there's one that I make that's got ginger beer, dark gin, and some bitters, almost like an old fashioned. And I don't even know what you call it, but I drink that a lot. I love that drink. But I highly recommend, if you like gin, all the floral flavors and smells, aroma of gin, but you also like whiskey, dark gin, aged gin is my new thing right now. I love aged gin. It's delicious. So good. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also think I made up some cocktails for Mike and Stephanie when they got married. The podcast supporters. When Mike and Stephanie got married, they asked me to make up some cocktails. So I had to make up from scratch 2 cocktails for their wedding. I can't remember what I made up, but I was very nervous. Because I like a good cocktail, like I like a really good cocktail. And I was nervous, like my reputation. I didn't want to make a shitty cocktail. I wanted to make a good cocktail. So yeah, it worked. It worked out. Hey, you're back.
I'm back, yeah. I feel so bad about the Alan Tudyk week before. It made me think about that I only can bear to watch Serenity and Firefly in reverse order. I really do this all few years, but
Yeah.
I watch it backwards because of Alan's sad performance.
Yeah.
And that's because you did this retrospect on Voyager, on the podcast. Is there anything that was really hard for you to watch on an emotional level?
On an emotional level on Voyager,
Yeah.
I can't think of anything, like the story was emotional or the memory of making it. Either one.
Either.
Hard. I don't know if anything was hard. It was very bittersweet. The whole watching Voyager was very bittersweet for me because a lot of the episodes I had never seen before. I'll be honest. Like I didn't watch every episode that we made because usually we were working 17 hours every day, so I didn't want to go home and, watch an episode when I've been working such long hours. So it was very bittersweet. I mean, I think what was hard, so when we first started Voyager, the original cast, the original series, was having a celebration and they invited us to come to it. And it was the original series' 25th anniversary. And they invited the TNG cast and the Deep Space Nine cast, the Voyager cast, to all honor the original series that were still alive. 25 years. And I remember going to that and thinking, wow, 25 years ago, the original series, that's so long ago. And they're all so old now. And now, doing the podcast, when we started the podcast, our series was 25 years old. Now we're 30 years old. But when we started the podcast, that was something that was hard for me. I remembered that celebration of the original series. I remembered thinking, I was 29 years old when I started on Voyager. I was a baby. And not a baby, not literally. I mean, I didn't wear diapers or anything, but I was young.
Turn around.
Oh. Oh. Yeah, so that was hard for me when we started the podcast. It was very bittersweet because watching the show through for the podcast reminded me of that 25th anniversary of the original cast and seeing them much older and thinking about time passing and our cast. I mean, I'm still very young. I'm still very, very young.
Speaking of time passing, sadly this is all the time we have for now.
That's all the time.
So please give it up one more time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you, everybody. I gotta tell you something. I just realized when I walked off stage, I saw this amazing actress that I worked with who's about to come out here and talk to you guys, and I wanted to let you know, Lexa and I worked together on a TV series called The Arrangement. I don't know if you saw her work in The Arrangement, but she was brilliant. And Lexa's gonna come out here and talk to you about all kinds of things, Stargate, and I hope she talks about how great her producer-director was on The Arrangement. Not that I'm making, any pressure for her, but I loved working with Lexa, so she'll be out in 1 second. Don't go anywhere. Bye.